Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer.
The 1960s were a decade of acceleration. Music was moving faster than anyone could keep up with. Styles evolved in months, not years. The Beatles redefined pop every 6 months. Motown's assembly line of hits changed the global radio sound. And new technologies in recording opened the door to sonic experiments that would have been impossible a decade earlier. But in that rapid churn, many bands who seemed poised for stardom found themselves swallowed by history. Some had the songs, some had the image, some even had the backing of powerful record labels. And yet, as cultural tides shifted, they simply disappeared. These are the stories of 15 forgotten 1960s pop bands. Artists who flickered briefly, sometimes brilliantly, before vanishing into the shadows of history. Imagine this. It's 1962. Decca Records has just turned down the Beatles. Instead, they signed the Tremeloes, a clean-cut British pop group with a polished sound. At the time, it seemed like a smart decision. By 1967, they'd scored a global hit with Silence is Golden. But while the Beatles reinvented themselves with each record, the Tremeloes stayed rooted in that early 60s sound. The psychedelic revolution left them behind, and their once bright flame faded quickly. Cultural impact. Their story is a reminder that sometimes, in music, timing is everything. When Wayne Fontana walked offstage mid-performance in 1965, his backing band, the Mindbenders, were left stunned. But they pushed forward without him, releasing a groovy kind of love. The single became a transatlantic hit, showcasing a softer, almost orchestral side of British pop. But internal instability plagued the band, and they couldn't sustain momentum. By the decade's end, they were history. Little known fact, that song was later covered by Phil Collins in 1988, bringing the Mindbenders' influence back into the charts, 2 decades after they dissolved. Formed by session musicians who worked with everyone from the Rolling Stones to Dusty Springfield, the Ivy League specialized in immaculate vocal harmonies. Their single, Funny How Love Can Be, climbed the UK charts in 1965, but their sunshine pop sound couldn't survive the darker, more experimental shift of the late 60s. Behind the scenes, members of the Ivy League would later form the group Flowerpot Men, and one of their touring lineups included future members of Deep Purple, showing how pop's DNA always mutates into something new.
I love you, tell me.
The Honeycombs were unique, not just for their pounding hit Have I the Right, 1964, but because they were fronted by Honey Laundrie, a female drummer at a time when women were almost invisible in rock bands.
And in your eyes, I see that's the way.
Produced by the legendary Joe Meek, the song's recording featured musicians stomping on wooden stairs to add a thunderous beat. It became a UK #1.
And in your eyes, I see that.
But Meek's eccentric production style and the rapidly changing pop landscape meant the Honeycombs couldn't adapt. By 1967, their moment had passed. From New Jersey came the Critters, whose 1966 ballad, Mr. Dyingly Sad, captured the innocence of mid-60s American pop. But here's the tragedy. Just as they found success, members were drafted into the Vietnam War. With their lineup fractured, they couldn't compete with the British invasion dominating US radio. Their story reminds us how the real world, war, politics, fate, can cut short even the most promising careers. San Francisco's Mojo Men hit it big with Sit Down, I Think I Love You, pinned by Stephen Stills of Buffalo Springfield. They embraced the folk rock trend, but were quickly overshadowed by the heavier psychedelic sound coming from their hometown peers, Jefferson Airplane, The Grateful Dead, Big Brother, and the Holding Company. The Mojo Men couldn't compete in the city's exploding counterculture, and they quietly disappeared. If you were part of the Liverpool scene in 1964, you were living in the Beatles' shadow. The swingin' blue jeans scored a hit with Hippie Hippie Shake, full of Merseybeat energy. But while the Beatles evolved with psychedelic masterpieces, the swingin' blue jeans stayed locked in their early sound. By the late 60s, they were playing to dwindling crowds in small clubs, a cautionary tale of what happens when you don't adapt.
Feel like you wanna cry. Oh, girl,
in 1967, Chicago's Buckinghams released Kind of a Drag, a #1 hit that showed American pop still had teeth in the face of British domination.
kind of a drag when you feel.
They followed it up with brass-driven hits that anticipated the Chicago horn rock sound. But management disputes and record label problems killed their momentum. Legacy note: without the Buckinghams paving the way, there might not have been a band like Chicago or Blood, Sweat and Tears.
Secrets I can find. For you, I'm just an ornament. Something.
Signed by Beatles manager Brian Epstein and mentored by Paul Simon, the Cyrkle seemed destined for stardom. Their Red Rubber Ball, 1966, sold over 1 million copies. But despite the connections, the band never found their identity beyond that single.
Ornament, something for your pride.
By 1968, they'd broken up, their fame fading almost overnight. Behind the scenes, members of the Cyrkle later went into commercial jingles. One co-wrote the famous Coke Is It campaign.
Yeah, the worst is over now. The morning sun is shining bright.
Their pop instincts never left, they just shifted into advertising.
It seems so funny to me. Laugh, laugh.
With their jangly hit, Laugh, Laugh, 1964, the Beau Brummels were dubbed America's answer to the Beatles.
So lonely. Don't think.
But their record label mishandled them, and by the time they tried to reinvent themselves with more serious folk rock, the Byrds had already taken that crown.
Won't say I'm sorry for the things I've said. I'm glad.
Their story is a classic case of the right sound, wrong timing.
She's mine.
In Sweden, the Hep Stars were huge, so big they were called the Swedish Beatles. Hits like Sunny Girl made them household names.
She's domestic, she is property, she's slim.
But they never cracked the global market. Still, their legacy is monumental. Keyboardist Benny Andersson would later form ABBA, one of the most successful pop groups of all time.
She's a sunny girl.
Without the Hep Stars, there may never have been ABBA.
Deep inside the tears that I'm forced to cry.
Baroque pop might not have been a household term in the 60s, but the Left Banke practically invented it. Their masterpiece, Walk Away Renee, 1966, blended rock with lush string arrangements.
Forced to cry from deep inside.
But management disputes and constant lineup changes fractured the group just as they were hitting their stride.
You back home. Now as the rain beats
Their influence, however, lingered. Artists from Billy Joel to Belle and Sebastian cite them as inspiration. Australia's proudest pop export, the Easybeats scored with Friday on My Mind in 1966. They moved to London chasing bigger fame, but legal disputes and poor promotion held them back. Still, their guitarist George Young would later mentor his brothers Malcolm and Angus, better known as the founders of AC/DC. So while the Easybeats disappeared, their DNA powered rock's next great chapter. By 1968, the Zombies had released Odyssey and Oracle, a psychedelic pop masterpiece. But the album flopped on release, and the band broke up before its single Time of the Season became a hit.
What's your name? Who's your dad?
It's one of the strangest tragedies in pop history. A band disbands just before their biggest success.
Is he rich like me? Has he
Today, the album is hailed as one of the greatest of the 60s, proof that sometimes genius is only recognized years later.
All right, C-Trends fam, let's keep it real. We're pouring our hearts into bringing you the best celebrity news and music deep dives. What? Check it. A massive 98% of you aren't subscribed yet. Subscribing is how you can truly support us, helping us grow and create even better content. If you're vibing with what we do, take a sec to hit that subscribe button. It's free and makes a huge difference. Plus, ring that notification bell so you never miss out. Let's flip that 98% and build this C-Trends family together. Your support is everything.
a face? Now I'm a believer.
Born as a made-for-TV band in 1966, the Monkees were often dismissed as manufactured. But behind the sitcom smiles, they had massive pop hits. I'm a Believer, Last Train to Clarksville, Daydream Believer.
And all you get is pain. When I needed sunshine.
The problem? They wanted to be taken seriously as musicians. That tension between their commercial image and artistic ambitions eventually tore them apart.
And all you get is pain. When I needed sunshine.
Yet their cultural impact is undeniable. They proved television could launch pop stardom, paving the way for everything from MTV to modern reality TV pop stars. The journey doesn't end here, pop lovers. Watch this next.